If you were to ask me what is the worst movie in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, well, over the years, my answer would change because it would always be one movie and then a new one would come out and that would overtake it as the worst one. And then Texas Chainsaw was the most recent movie that I would say this is the worst in the series, at least in my opinion. It was more frustrating, it was more hard to watch. And then this movie comes out, Leatherface. This came out in 2017. It was directed by two fucking people, Julian Maury and Alexander Bustillo, who, come on, why does it take two people to make this movie? I know sometimes there are some directors that just, they work together, and that's just how they do things. And that's fine. Usually it's brothers or it's sisters, but even if it's just two friends who know each other well, their sensibilities, look at the most recent Marvel and Avengers movies. Those are made by two brothers, two people, and they're always great. So I'm not saying that it shouldn't be a two-man thing. I'm saying the product that we got is so awful that there's no excuse. It's almost worse if you're willing to admit that two of you directed this piece of shit. I should also give mention or credit, however you want to call it, to the writer, Seth M. Sherwood. I want to mention him because you wrote this shit, dude. And you also pitched this to the studio to get it made. Originally, they wanted to do a straight-up sequel to Texas Chainsaw. And I'll be honest, thank God we never got that. So Seth pitched to make a prequel to the 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. And some of you might stop and think, wait a minute, didn't they already do a prequel for Leatherface? And the answer is yes, technically they did. Except that prequel was a prequel for the remake. We didn't get a prequel for the original. So let's regurgitate that idea and do it for the original timeline. Let's bastardize and ruin that original movie any more ways that we can. So you see, in 1955, this couple is driving along the road. They see this child who they think looks hurt at first, and Beth comes out of the car and she comes up to the kid until she notices that he's wearing a cow's head. I'm pretty sure it's a cow. It looks like a cow or a moose or something. So she becomes intrigued, I guess, and follows the boy into a farmhouse, or like a shed. And what do you know? She gets killed by the Sawyer family. Because, let's be honest, she was dumb to follow this kid. I don't really feel bad for her. Her father is the sheriff, Sheriff Hartman, who's played by Stephen Dorff. Wow, have the mighty have fallen. He is pissed when he finds out that this is his daughter dead. And the mother, Verna Sawyer, who's played by Lily Taylor, she is begging and pleading and saying that it was an accident. It wasn't really what it looks like. He doesn't believe her, though. So he takes the youngest kid, Jedediah Sawyer, takes him into custody and brings him to a mental institution as a fuck you to them. And I don't blame him. Then the movie jumps ahead 10 years later. And we see at this hospital, we meet some characters like a nurse, Elizabeth, who is being nice. She feels bad for some of these inmates, even though they're crazy. She's nice to this one particular character, Jackson. The two of them have this bond. Verna, we see a scene of her going to the institution with an injunction that supposedly is supposed to allow the family to visit her son. But the director of the hospital says no. He says, fuck you. Get out. Dr. Lang, he's not interested in any of this, and has her leave. So on the way out, Verna pissed off, she creates a riot. She does something with the security, and it causes all of the inmates to go nuts. And I'll be honest, as much as I hate this movie, this sequence where the inmates are going crazy and they're killing other patients, they're killing nurses, they're killing everyone. It's brutal. It's insane. It's horrific, and it's hard to watch. And the nurse, Elizabeth, she's trying to get out. She's freaking out, and she's trying to survive. Jackson, though, the inmate, saves her, and the two of them make it out of there until they're taken hostage by this chick and her guy, and they're with another guy. For some reason, like, they already broke out, but they want to take them hostage. Like, just leave. Why do you need to take anyone hostage? None of this makes any sense. So, as a group, a big old happy family, because it's easier to escape a hospital with cops chasing you by taking hostages and having to worry about them as well. What a lazy, lazy plot this is. So they go to a diner, they're getting something to eat. You know they don't have money, though. So the woman, she starts a fight with the waitress, and then the couple just starts killing everyone. Just starts shooting the place up, killing as many people in the diner as possible. Huge insanery. Look, if this wasn't a Leatherface origin movie, if this wasn't something connected to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre story, if this was just a horror movie about this nurse who was taken hostage by this crazy group of people who broke out, and we just followed how crazy they were, if we just followed how crazy these inmates were and how they're willing to do fucked up stuff, like, that could have been interesting. But of course, that's not what we got. We see them, they have to run away now, and they wind up at this RV, and they're staying the night there. At night, though, Elizabeth tries to break out, but she gets caught by the guy, of course, and the sheriff, Hartman, Stephen Dorff. He arrives at the diner, and he sees what happened, and kind of just figures out that one of these inmates is Jedediah Sawyer. So that's the moment where we're supposed to gasp, and we're supposed to sit back and think to ourselves, holy crap. So one of these inmates that we've been following is Leatherface, or will become Leatherface. Which one is it? It's a who is Leatherface story. It turns into a mystery on who's going to become the iconic character. Why? Why do we have to do this? I know you want to keep people guessing. I know you want to surprise people. I know you want to have it be some sort of surprise. But no! Fuck this shit. Especially when you get to the reveal. So when the crazy chick wakes up and she realizes that her guy is gone, she goes outside to look. And that's where she gets caught by Hartman, Stephen Dorff. And he obviously is so pissed off still about his daughter and still about this whole situation. He says, fuck it, and shoots her in the face and kills her. And this is a turning point. This is supposed to make us think, well, can we trust this guy? Is he too far gone? Is he too crazy? Who can Elizabeth trust? She can't run back to them and the sheriff, right? Because he might just kill them all. He's crazy. So I get that. And maybe it's supposed to make him look like a villain as well. But I got shades and flashes of Texas Chainsaw and how that movie made the town people and the cops look like the dicks, look like the villains. And they made the family seem sympathetic. And so I thought to myself, no! Please don't do that again with this movie. And it sure looked like that's what they're doing. You see Elizabeth and everyone else watching from afar. She's freaking out. And then she just starts to run. Her and Jackson just start to run away. And she's screaming out for any cars passing by, anyone to find them, save them. And that's when the deputy hears her. And the deputy, I should mention this guy. He's played by Finn Jones. And if you don't know who that is, if you didn't watch the Marvel Netflix shows. He played Iron Fist on that show, and wow. I know technically this, I think, was around the same time, maybe the same year as Iron Fist. Maybe he even shot this movie before he did Iron Fist. But, and I know that he was on Game of Thrones as well, but it just makes me think that this actor, not only is he not all that good, but he doesn't really have that much going on. If he's in a direct-to-DVD Texas Chainsaw prequel that sucks as hard as this one does. So as he's trying to call for help, Jackson freaks out, I guess, and just attacks him and kills him. Okay, that's your first sign that Jackson is a bit off. So they're freaking out, they're panicking, they go to steal a car, and as they drive off, Hartman sees them and shoots at them, and a bullet hits Elizabeth, and then another bullet hits Jackson through the face, through his jaw, and horribly disfigures him, fucks his face up good. And so they crash, and then there's a character, Bud. I haven't mentioned Bud. He was in the group, the inmates who escaped, and he's a big guy who's pretty slow, doesn't really talk all that much, is a bit off, and upon appearance, he fits the bill. He looks like he would be the easy case to become Leatherface. You could look at this kid and think, yeah, he's probably going to be Jedediah. Until Hartman shoots him in the head, dead. Kills him dead. And so that's the swerve. You kind of figure out where the story is going now. This is where if I wasn't already saying fuck you to this movie, I definitely said it at this point. So later on that night, Elizabeth wakes up in a barn, the same barn where the daughter was killed earlier. And the sheriff has them tied up, and he tells her that Jackson is Jedediah, that he is the Sawyer son who's crazy and fucked up. And that's where the Sawyer family shows up, and they beat the crap out of Hartman because he was so dumb he had to do his villain monologue to reveal his plan and to reveal the story behind the movie. Of course, he gets taken for that. And then we cut again back to the home, the Sawyer home, where Verna is stitching Jedediah now. Used to be Jackson, now he's Jedediah, stitching his face up, and she puts like a muzzle on his face, I guess, to hold the stitches together. He's horribly disfigured, though, and he's not talking. And I guess because he was shot in the face and disfigured, I guess that makes him retarded now? Look, I don't know. I've never been shot in the face. I'm not claiming I've ever been shot in the face. So I don't know if going through something like that would make me retarded. I don't know. Maybe it would. Maybe somebody in the comments can let me know if you were ever shot in the face and now you're dumber for it. But because of this, the mother brings him into the room where Hartman and Elizabeth are being held, and she gives him a chainsaw. His very first chainsaw, his introduction to chainsaws, because earlier when he was a kid, we saw him staring at a chainsaw because that's his faith. That's what he's going to be going towards, so let's tease that in your face and show that he's always wanted one. So now that he has one, he goes and he cuts the shit up of Hartman. Just kills him, puts the chainsaw through him, and that's Stephen Dorff's part. Like, this is an actor who was in a bunch of movies in the 90s. I remember him most as the villain from Blade. Great actor. I don't know if he had some issues with drugs or alcohol, if something halted his acting career. Could have been. But for whatever reason, just seeing him in this film, I read that he had a lot of creative control over his character, at least as far as how he was presented. So maybe that dark edge, that interesting aspect to him was all him. But to see him just taken and killed this easily, it just, where's the arc? Where's the emotional payoff for him as a character. It's like, can't you have him kill at least one of this family members and then maybe get killed, or get killed trying to save our main girl? No, he's killed like a little bitch. As the family celebrates, Elizabeth manages to run off, runs out of the house, runs into the woods to then get chased by Jedediah, because we have to have a chase scene with Leatherface chasing a girl with a chainsaw in the woods. She gets caught on a bear trap, which makes me wonder, like, what if she had bypassed the bear trap and Jedediah had gotten his foot caught? Like, has that ever happened? Did he know where the bear traps were? Because that just seemed very convenient to be right where it was, where she was running. So she's begging for her life. She's pleading with Jedediah, please remember me. Remember that you used to want to fuck me. And remember how I almost had sex with you too, because I'm an idiot. And I was a nurse at a crazy inmate place. And I guess that made me crazy as well. She doesn't say this, but this is all very implied. And he seems like maybe he's sympathizing with her, I guess. Again, he's not talking. You see his eyes and he's looking at her. And then Verna tells him to kill her to protect the family. And she insults Verna, so he cuts her head off. Great. Our main female character gets killed in a brutal way. I know it's an origin. I know it's a prequel. I know it's supposed to lead into a movie where you can't have the girl run off and then tell people, and then how do you explain that nobody came after them? But in the continuity that they've already established, at least with Texas Chainsaw, it seemed like, well, does it matter? It seemed like people in the town do know about what they were doing and finally get fed up. So you actually could have had this girl escape and could have done something with the twist ending that maybe somebody is protecting the family, or maybe there's a reason why nobody goes after them. You could have had something more interesting instead of just, oh yeah, she dies. Especially because in the prequel for the remake, that's what they did too. They had the main girl, Jordana Brewster, get killed. And at least that was a cooler death. So Jedediah, he takes her face and the sheriff's face, creates a new mask with it, and he starts applying lipstick. Because we want to bring the lipstick back. Leatherface, cross-dressing Leatherface, is the best Leatherface, right? So they have that there for the fans of the sequels that they discredited and say don't count. What? Then he looks in the mirror and sees his face, and he breaks it because he's angry. He's never going to be happy with the way he looks. Blah, 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 blah. This is what we needed. A psychological, inner head description of what Leatherface is, who he is, this big twist on how this kid looks nothing like him, his personality didn't fit him, the fact that he was kind of sort of normal, maybe some anger issues, but this being shot in the face made him silent and retarded and turns him into the Leatherface from the original. I don't buy it. I call bullshit. So, needless to say, this movie sucks. This ending sucks. This twist sucks. This movie sucks and was not needed at all. I did watch, in case anyone mentions, I did watch the alternate ending where either way, he still kills the girl. He still cuts her face off. This one's just more sick because you see her body with her face missing and she's still alive. Her eyes are moving. And then he goes up to her wearing her face and then kills her. I'm like, great. If that was the ending, it would have sucked as well. So guys, clearly, I hate this movie. In my opinion, this is the worst movie associated with Texas Chainsaw or Leatherface. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with that statement, or do you somehow, some way like this movie? Why? What are the reasons why you like it? What scenes do you like? What characters do you like? What plot points do you like? Make me understand why this abomination is good. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.
Soul's taken over by a devilish path. You got me walking on broken glass. Kicking down the door with a Jason mask, with a decked out machete, but you motherfuckers know it's heavy. Anytime you're ready, you can get you with a Bowie. Setting up to blow me, but the bitch don't know me. Who's going? I'm going. You know, I know that the man in the mirror is my next rival. Time goes and I never thought I'd live it so fast. Staring at the world from the end of my glass, turned into a dark place, sever my brain.